Government sources have denied to the BBC a report in the Times newspaper that it's agreed a massive shake-up of the benefit system, which would introduce a new universal benefit. Although the Chancellor, George Osborne, wants to reduce expenditure, the Department of Work and Pensions wants to spend more, not less, and give people on benefits a better incentive to return to work. Well, to discuss the possible changes in benefits, we're joined by Mark Littlewood, who's the Director General of the Institute of Economic Affairs. Mark, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we allow for that caveat that this, we don't yet know, will happen, but do you think the government is moving in the right direction here, assuming this is where they end up?
Well, I think Ian Duncan-Smith's got about half the picture right. It is quite extraordinary that we have a welfare system costing in excess of £100 billion a year, where we aren't actually incentivising people to get back to work. People aren't stupid. If they can get the same from welfare as they could from a modest paid job, they're probably not going to move into a modest paid job. However, that really is only half of the picture, and it strikes me as being quite extraordinary in an era where we have to make dramatic cuts to tackle the deficit, that we're considering increasing the overall welfare bill even more. There needs to be quite a lot of stick here, not just carrot, in order to get the welfare bill down, not up.
My understanding of that, and by all means correct me if I'm wrong, is that to streamline the system initially it will cost more to do that, but in the longer term you will save more money.
There is a hope that if you put the right incentives in, which the previous government failed to do, that of course people will enter the workforce and then they'll start moving up the career ladder and the tax revenues will pour in and the welfare levels will go down. But to even need to prime it, I think is quite extraordinary. The idea is that your benefits would taper off as you entered work rather than just end, thereby making it a greater incentive to enter the workforce, and over the long run that may very well work. But I think that we need to look at how extraordinarily high our welfare rolls have become. We now have 1/3 of households or so in Britain dependent on state handouts for more than half their annual income. This is eye-wateringly high. We have about 2 million people on incapacity benefit, apparently so ill and disabled that they can't possibly enter the workforce. Again, implausibly high. So I think there actually needs to be a drill down on the numbers on the welfare rolls, not just a carrot to incentivise them to get back into the workplace.
But some of what you're talking about there is surely attacking those who, for example, at the moment are regarded as those who are in the middle classes and still qualify for child benefit. Do you think they have to look at that?
Well, I think they should look at middle-class benefits. I think it is quite ridiculous that we have such a high proportion of the population who still get some form of benefit or other from the state. But that's not really the problem that Ian Duncan-Smith's tackling here. It's worklessness is the problem that he's tackling, and he's quite right to say that we need to put the incentives in place to make work pay. But I'd like him to go a bit further, to consider, for example, whether most people on welfare should actually have a work requirement, because at the moment you really don't have to do very much to qualify for your welfare benefits. If you had to work, that might focus the mind and actually encourage you to go into the private workforce rather than just claim the benefit checks that are coming your way. So overall, I think Ian Duncan-Smith's got the carrot right, but the stick wrong, and it shouldn't be beyond the wit of man to be able to create a welfare regime that costs a bit less than £100 billion a year, yet still incentivises work.
Mark Littlewood, many thanks.